Hey everybody, Adam Savage in my cave alongside tested colleague Melho. How are you?
Good, I'm doing great. How are you doing, Adam?
Really, really good. A few months ago, I obtained, just because I like objects that have weird skill sets, I picked up this Flipper Zero. And you came by and I was like, look what I got. And you were like, oh! And I just said, hey, you want to take this and run with it and play with this and see what it can do?
Yeah, that was really awesome. I feel like I was like, Adam, how have the Flipper Zero been doing? And you're just like, at one point you're like, here,
yeah, because I wasn't going to get around to running it through its paces. Can we talk about the top line? What is this advertised as a thing?
So this is like a multi-tool for hacking.
Okay.
Basically, it's supposed to be able to do all kinds of scanning from RFID, NFC to your like remote control and more.
So it monitors both wired channels and wireless channels.
Yes.
It can tell you and sniff information in the packets being transmitted.
Exactly.
And help you adjust them, modify them. This is also a really potentially incredibly important IT tool for someone managing a large system.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it is basically, it's beautiful because it's portable. It's also got this cute little dolphin
That's
hacker.
right, yes.
It's very Johnny Mnemonic. They were just like, yes, let's make it cutesy. And then it has also GPIO pins, so you can do also hardware hacking with it as well. So it's sort of supposed to be this like
like a Swiss Army knife.
Exactly. And I love just, again, how portable this is and very discreet. I can show you like four of the stuff I've discovered. I've also installed Doom on it if you want to play Doom.
Does it run Doom?
It does run Doom. Guess what? Someone actually decided to make it so that it runs Doom.
Before we continue too far down, I want to talk about the word hacking.
Yes, okay.
Because within the realm of hacking, it has a modern definition. I think that squicks people out for reasons that are excellent. But I want to just make it clear to folks watching, when we say hacking, we're talking about specifically white hat hacking. And hacking, I take from the definition, the early MIT definition of hacking, which is an exploration that damages nothing during that exploration, breaks no laws, and leaves the space, digital or otherwise, exactly as it was found. That is the ethos of white hat hacking. It is not about stealing, it's not about harming, it's not about pranking. And so that's the frame from which, and again, digital tools talking to each other through wires or wirelessly are excellent platforms for exploration and for increasing their abilities. And this is all within the realm of white hat hacking, but none of this is about stealing or robbing.
This is about curiosity. All right, this is an educational video. Educational. This is educational. So yeah.
Okay, let's start.
All right, let's start. So if you go into the menu, you will find various options. I am going to start out with the RFID scanner, which I immediately used to scan my own Corpo card.
Oh,
yes.
That you have for work.
I have for work, because sometimes I forget this, and it's very straightforward. So you literally just tap on, don't move the card. There we go.
So that read the RFID on your card and cloned it.
Exactly. And then you have options where you go, I want to save this, and we can name it something. It automatically generates a name, but I will just save it as work. Work. It's been saved. Congrats. And you click that and you can go, I want to emulate this. And so if I were to go to my like RFID readers at the door, I just tap it. It opens the door. I've tested it. It works.
Okay, now this can't be done with a credit card.
No.
Yeah.
No.
They operate on a different technology.
Yes.
So the Flipper Zero can't clone or replicate or steal a credit card.
No, and we have systems now. Maybe back in the day, but we now have the chip system, which basically requires a sort of a verification directly with your bank.
Yeah.
So and it's still so you cannot necessarily scan a credit card, but you can do things like office cards. Hotel cards are also another common one, because that is a protocol that's not necessarily the most secure.
Sure.
But yeah, not credit cards. It's a little bit boring, though, I would say, if you were to do it.
Right. If what you want, fair.
Fair. All right. Check.
So you immediately cloned your work ID. I love that.
Yeah, so that one was a very straightforward, easy one.
Yeah.
Another one was remoting basically like your remotes. So any TV remote, you can basically you'd point the remote to this,
and it reads the signal coming from the IR bulb.
Exactly.
And these are signals that are sort of uniform and used throughout these industries when they're right.
Exactly. So there are some like universal signals, like there's some form of standardization. Then there's also proprietary stuff like Chromecast, which for whatever reason I can never get the remote to like read this, which is unfortunate, but that is okay.
Probably from some securitization they've done in the pipeline.
Which is good. Overall I think that's good. It's inconvenient for me, but great for them.
Let's also be clear that one of the great things that white hat hacking does is it brings up some of the less secure things that should be more secure. Mm-hmm. Exploring insecure systems is a fantastic way to understand why they're insecure and how to make them more secure. That's my little soapbox.
Yeah.
All right.
That's fair.
Okay, so we can NFC card scanner.
Yes. So do you have an NFC card that I can showcase?
That the one that we were talking about?
Yes.
All right, hold on. Yes, at the last time I saw Tom Sachs, he made me an official identification, and this is an NFC card. And I came back from New York with this on my last trip.
So we just go read, and we go, do not move, boop. And it's here. That's you. And I can save it. I can emulate it. I thought originally I could write it.
But you can't
but
write it.
I cannot write it. So NFC cards are interesting. There is a rewritable NFC card called the Magic. I think the Magic card.
Right.
And so depending on the version, you can then essentially rewrite the UID, which is I think the very key thing that is important.
But you can't do that on the card.
You can't do it on a regular card. And so I thought
you went and printed it.
I thought that I could just pirate you, but I cannot. So Admo Savgay this does not write. This does not write. You can emulate. So same thing as before. You would basically just press emulate, tap it in, and you would be able to access Tom Sachs's shop. But
I love that you printed the whole. You have a color card printer.
I do have a color card printer.
I have always wanted a color card
printer. Yeah, if you ever need cards printed, I have it. I got it for a housewarming party as party favors.
Dude. Okay, wait a minute. Maybe what I need to do is I'll buy the number embosser so we can make some movie prop cards that I have on my list.
Excellent. Okay, great.
I always thought Jason Bourne should have a black card. That's all.
Okay. Yeah, let's go.
Okay, dude.
I got it working, so
that's amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, NFC check.
Okay.
All right, next thing. This is a key.
It is a key copier?
You can
I just saw this on your list here.
You can install key copiers on this thing. So again, it has like some base software that you can use, programs you can use. I've added a key copier because I thought it'd be fun, and also
so this is an add-on app you can put in. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah,
so people are writing stuff for this all the time.
Expandable.
Increasing its functionality.
Exactly,
okay.
It's great. So you then put the key down and you're like, shoot, I need to copy this. I need to make sure the ridges are right. So you align it as best as you can to the first one, and then you lower it down to match.
No way.
Yep.
So basically the resolution
enough
of this LCD screen is plenty to match the bitting on a standard key and be able to take that information, presumably to a locksmith, and have another key made.
You can have another key made. I've seen crazy things like someone has a CAD key copier thing where you put these numbers into code and it creates like a 3D model of the key.
And these numbers are standard numbers within the language of locksmiths.
Yes.
I wanted to show you a tool that I collected a couple years ago, which is a cutter, right? So it's a little chomper.
Whoa.
That cuts notches, and those notches can these are the same numbers that are on here, and you can
Alright.
cut your own key by hand if you needed to. I think it takes a steady hand, and I haven't tried it.
Oh my
I just
gosh.
love the idea of this functionality.
I love that. That's amazing.
I love that, and that there's a whole ecosystem of people building new ways, functionalities into this thing.
Exactly. Like, so you have like they have like Caesar cipher shifters and like ROT13 like translators and like again, someone installed Dune. So I feel like the community is alive and well, as one would say. And then you can save. You would basically just save it. So I don't know. Well, I will not because I'm not sure.
Right.
We will keep this key safe
fair.
away further away. Okay.
Key
copier done. Okay.
Bad USB.
Bad USB.
What is bad USB? Is that nefarious USB?
I mean, a little bit, yes. Are you familiar with rubber duckies?
No.
Okay, so like USBs.
I know that when I go to cons, people give me rubber ducks all the time, but that's not what this is
Wait,
about.
like not physical rubber ducks
Yeah.
or USB. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
well that's
yeah.
better. Like so like. We need to talk about hygiene, right? Like electronic hygiene. When you
Okay.
find a USB stick on the ground, don't put it in your computer.
Ever.
Don't ever do it.
Ever.
I mean, do
ever.
it. I used to do it when I was younger. When I was 9, I was very like, oh my God, look at that. It's free, 256.
No, I want to
no,
point
it's
out that like the Soviets at one point just sprinkled USB drives outside the Pentagon. And that actually worked for an exploit or two.
It's like the penny, you're
Right.
like,
Ooh, I wonder.
it's shiny.
And I don't know about you, but every time I see someone just plug a USB drive they don't know into their computer in a movie, I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically,
So this is what you plug your USB drive into
Yes.
instead of your computer.
Yeah. So they have this whole scripting language. I think it's called Ducky script or Duck script.
Mm-hmm.
And basically it acts as a a keyboard periphery, and it runs scripts as if you were typing in a keyboard. So it basically emulates like a keyboard.
I see. Right. So when you plug your
sends
keyboard
signals over.
So when you plug your keyboard into your laptop, it has signals the laptop interprets and can generate text with. This can operate along the same protocol.
Exactly.
You can preload text, and the computer will think someone is just typing that in.
Oh yeah, it's
Okay.
quite lovely. We're gonna only show a very cute educational version of this.
So you have a script running that when this plugs in, like your standard threat vector USB drive.
Yeah. So it's unlocked. Obviously there are other steps if, like, say there, security measures in. But say you just this open computer. What shall we do? Let's load LOL, and I run it. It loads. But what is this? Oh.
And it's drawing a ASCII portrait. Who's this? George Washington? Oh no! No, it's Patrick Bateman. Oh man.
Yeah.
It's amazing how little information I need to
Yeah.
recognize Christian
You
Bale.
really need the eyes and the scream.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was all done by just literally pressing run on this guy. I wrote the script in a TXT, basically a notepad.
Text file.
It was a TXT file that you just plop in. And it's essentially just a very simplified scripting language where you just, it runs these commands.
So while you can do this by hooking up the USB to the computer, this is also a reasonable way to analyze an unknown USB drive? No. Okay.
No.
Okay.
I mean, maybe, but not in particular. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
So in general, just be very paranoid about USBs. I think it's just like there's so many things that prevent you from like getting compromised in other contexts, right? But like once it's in the hardware, once it's like hooked in,
Well, I mean,
it's
that's
a
the
trusted
thing that's
device, it's like game over.
That's what's so spooky about USB, because they can put whole operating systems in a chip in this form factor.
Oh yeah, it's pretty crazy now. Yeah, Moore's law, man, it's wild. But like again, like there are like I think like MacBooks are a little bit better because they essentially solved it by just forcing you to say yes to everything every single time.
In terms of security.
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
So it's locked out until unlocked.
Yeah. So it becomes a pain for development, but like everything else, like regular use, it's pretty okay.
I'm curious what sort of what sort of new perspective the Flipper might have given you in this space. Like, did it open up any new lines of interest for you, or stuff you didn't know was feasible?
Oh yeah, I think so. It was pretty neat to do the bad USB stuff.
Yeah.
There's a million scripts. I was like, oh dear. I think that was my first response, was like, huh. And I think immediately after I was like, okay, like what can I do to sort of at least minimize the chances of this happening to me?
Right.
So I mean, I think a part of the benefit of exploring, say, network security-esque tools is also realizing like how fragile, our protections can be.
And that fragility is impossible to remove. All we can do is mitigate it as best we can.
Exactly. Just not make it super freaking easy, right? Like at the end of the day, I think there's a statement. It's like you could have all these like sweet protections, but if like the person schmooze talks you to open the door, it doesn't matter, right? Like there's so many other ways that people can make this happen.
Right.
But it's nice to say like you turn your deadbolts at night, right? Because like that like all the other locks are like.
Meanwhile, most hackers talk their way in.
Yeah.
Right? It's social networking.
It's social networking.
Engineering.
You bat your eyelashes a little, you smile, and then they ask to go in.
Now,
right?
let us just discuss briefly about what totally awesome and legitimate uses there might be for needing to run a script on a computer. Let's say you're running IT for a whole network, and you've got a computer with a bad keyboard, and you need to boot it and do stuff to it. You can build a script in this and take care of that.
Oh, yes, exactly. Automation is awesome for this, right? Like, so think about it in the context of like if you had like a key, you could do the same thing probably with a little, keyboard and whatever. But then it's like you got to type every command, you got to run it, blah 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 blah. What if you just like ran one bash-esque script, and it just did all the things, right? This is the whole thing about DevOps is like, how do I just make this fast and automated so I can do 200 of these?
So you could use this as a security updating tool.
You could.
Right.
Potentially,
Amazing.
yes. Like, I mean, I think it's a very, like, you don't know it's useful until it's like, that is all you have, and you go, shoot, I'm glad I have this. It's like, again, like those like lockpick sets where you have like, you make it locked out of your home. Yeah. I actually had an experience like that, and I was really happy I had a lockpick set. It took 2 hours to break into my own apartment. And I was like, kind of like, why aren't the neighbors calling the cops? This is very concerning for me in a different context, because I'm like sweating in Santa Cruz. And anyway, but I was so happy I had that kit. I was just like, I need to go in. My roommate was out for the week, and I was just like, I can't. I just moved in here.
I love that story. I haven't, same thing. The first time I had to pick a lock under mission critical conditions, it took forever and still felt like one of the great accomplishments of my early life.
Yeah, I felt like I leveled up. Like I felt like I opened the door and it was just like points, achievements to lockpicking +1 or something.
The thing I really like about this kind of device is, when I was younger, computers were just black boxes, right? You put stuff in and they gave you stuff out. And I think technologically, we have a lot of things in our lives these days that are like black boxes. We don't know how they do what they do, but we're glad that they do it. But these are interdependent and very complex and delicate systems. And Flipper Zeros and things like this allow you to explore those systems and understand how they work and give you a better sense of how they work for us.
Oh, yeah, totally. Actually, also, that does raise a really good point that it is very accessible when it comes to like network security tools, right? I took a couple of NetSec classes for like undergrad, and like I just remember it's like the initial setups before were like you had like a virtualized box of a Windows because like you don't want to accidentally hack something that would you get arrested for.
Yes.
So you needed like a safe zone, right? Yeah. And there was all of this like hem and hawing of like a sort of an environment setup, which was fun, but like it also like I could see where if a person wasn't like super comfortable with the command line and like the terminal, they'd be like spooked by it before they see the spark of like why this is fun and why it's worth spending an insane amount of hours to like do the one thing, right? But I find that this was so nice because it was just like you didn't have to have like a third party like RFID card scanner that like cost you money and you'd have to know what it was is, and you'd order it from these like sort of semi-shady sites that only
Yes,
took
yes.
Bitcoin or something, you know, like. And so, like, I thought this was cool because it was like you could have the spread of exploring like Wi-Fi hacking,
Yeah.
RFID stuff, IR, and all of this stuff without necessarily like having to buy the individual hardware to set that up.
Right.
And then also creating that development environment.
And
So
let's also be clear, like, I know that there's plausibly some people watching being like, why should something like this exist? And Canada, at least for a time, banned the Flipper Zero entirely.
Oh.
Which is a mistaken attempt at creating security through obscurity. Nothing here is a mystery. Nothing here is unknown to the security community.
Agreed.
It is like banning a hammer.
Yeah.
Or a pair of pliers, because that's what this is. This is a tool.
It's a tool. At the end of the day, technology is a tool, right? And
Right.
it is the intention of the person who is using it that really determines like whether it's something that will be a tool for evil or a tool for like, you know, something that's helpful. But I think that it's really important to just like learn these tools
Yeah.
anyway, because it's like, man, like imagine all the stuff you've learned when you figured out how to use a hammer. Then you were like, everything is useful like this.
Yes.
And then they
Yes.
taught you other tools, and you're like, oh, I should probably not use the hammer for everything. But it's still like on the Rolodex, right? Like,
yeah.
I feel like the Flipper Zero is just another example of it's a multi-tool that you can do all kinds of cool things. You might find that like one of the aspects of it is really interesting, and then deep dive into that and get really good at that. But it's a good like starter for someone who's just like, I just want, I don't know, basic things like I just want to have one thing that has all of my cards so I don't have to carry 5, 6
Yeah.
cards, you know, things like that. It starts there, and then, yeah, I don't know, the more you know, the more fun it is to just play around.
Dude, I really appreciate you bringing this in and walking me through it. It's way cooler than I thought it was, and I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me borrow it for a
Oh,
bit and just
absolutely.
like noodling around. This is great.
Thank you guys for joining us. We'll see you next time.